Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to Season 2 of Pod Snipe Celly. We are ready to go. Second NHL season, a little over a week away. Dan Bradley, Joel Vernino coming at you. Joel, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Dude, I'm fantastic. Arguably, we are in one of the top 3 times around the year. It's fall, and it's actually fall. We're not getting fake fall. It's been like high 50s, low 60s. It's amazing outside right now. We're a few weeks into the football season. That's been great, which also means now we got basketball starting. And of course, hockey is back. Preseason hockey specifically is back tonight, and hockey is back, man. All good vibes, man. Man, I'm doing good.
10 days. That was 10 days till the start of the season. It is so close we can taste it. And you're exactly right with the fall rolling around. It was a brisk 47 degrees when I left for hockey practice this morning. HP chiming in. What's up, Pheasants? New camera angle for Joel. Yeah, Joel getting the new podcast equipment.
I know I got some new equipment. You can't see it. There's a microphone now. Got the new. But thank you to Razer. Razer is the best, honestly. So it's good stuff. How do I sound? Do I sound good?
You sound very good to me. So
you're damn right I do. Anyway.
Well, we have a lot to throw at you tonight. This is, of course, our NHL 2022-23 season preview show. We have a ton of content. We're going to break down every division.
Hot takes incoming.
Hot takes incoming. Stanley Cup Finals prediction. Awards prediction throughout the season. So without further ado, let's jump right in with the Atlantic Division. Joel, do you want to go ahead and read off the odds there for the Atlantic Division?
For the winners of the Atlantic Division, of course, as pretty much always, you got the Maple Leafs leading the pack at plus 170, the Florida Panthers at plus 200, interestingly ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 300, the Bruins at plus 1,100, the Senators at plus 2,800, and I think that's actually a really I would throw some money at that. And then the Red Wings at plus 3,000, Sabres at plus 7,000, Canadians at plus 20,000.
Yeah, this is the first time you've read all these numbers, I believe. So
I've seen some. Where'd you get these from? DraftKings?
These are from DraftKings.
DraftKings, yeah, okay. That's pretty much what I've seen. I mean, this all makes sense to me.
Yeah, it looks about right. The big talkers, I think, in this division, I think the first thing we have to cover is the trades, and specifically the Florida Panthers trade, shipping out Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar, Cole Schwint, and a conditional first to bring in Matthew Tkachuk, a huge get for the Panthers.
An upgrade defensively from Huberdeau.
And then we also have to cover, I'm sorry, I have to bring it up, Alex DeBrincat trade to the Ottawa Senators, which I think is why you alluded to throwing some money on the Sabres at plus 2,800.
You mean the Senators?
Or Senators, excuse me. Not the Sabres.
I'm not
Sabres
throwing
plus 7,000.
I will throw $1 at the Sabres because I know I'll be losing that $1. Well, still $1 would win me what? Would that win me? That would win me what? $7?
Yeah.
Never mind. I will not do that. But no, I know it's. Hey, man, I'm in the acceptance phase. It's gone. It's past. It is what it is.
So looking at this division, really seeing that big cluster right at the top. I think those 3 teams are really separated from the rest of the pack. I think the Bruins as well, with the injuries that they have to their team to start the season.
I think
Brad Marchand out, Charlie McAvoy out.
How long is McAvoy out again?
I believe until early November, I think is what I saw.
What about
same with Marchand?
Oh, I mean, that's you'd think that the games in November in October don't really mean much, which they kind of don't. But I mean, if you fall into a deep enough hole, it's kind of tough to get out of. I feel like here come my hot takes, man. But I feel like the Bruins are only getting this much love. Obviously, they're perennial playoff contenders, obviously, but all because Bergeron is coming back. I think that, along with David Krejci, is now returning to the Bruins. But I mean, he's been out of action for it's been 2 years now. or out of NHL.
Just
Actually,
one. Just one.
Was
He
it
was
just
off
one?
last year. Yep.
It was just last year. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, either way, he's been out of NHL action for a year. I mean, I think that's the only reason they're getting love, because you got the namesake of Krejci and Bergeron, who are coming back for sure, and then you got the names in like McAvoy and Marchand, but they're going to be injured anyway, and then of course Pasternak. But I don't agree with the love they're getting, but I guess they'll prove me wrong, maybe. But
I think one other thing we need to talk about with Boston too is their coaching change. Claude Julien out after 6 seasons. He was they were a playoff team every year under Claude Julien, 106 points last season, and somehow that's still not good enough for the future of the team.
You mean Bruce Cassidy?
Or Bruce Cassidy, sorry.
That's like Claude Julien got fired many years ago.
No, Julien was a while ago. Sorry. 17. Yeah, Bruce Cassidy. Sorry.
I was like, you're making a joke?
No, I apologize. I had the wrong name there.
Yeah, Bruce Cassidy.
Out after 6 seasons, made the playoffs every year with Boston. And then so Montgomery in now as a head coach. You've got the injuries, you've got the new coaching system.
Yep.
You no longer have Tuukka Rask in net, which I think we saw Tuukka play last year, and it was not the level that we had come to expect at all. And that's part of why Tuukka hung him up.
Why he decided to, ride off into the sunset. Like, I'm not gonna end a shell of myself, even though he kind of did. But
HP chiming in here with a hot take. He's joining you with the Sens. Look out for the Sens this year. Not saying they will win the division, but I would dare say a playoff team.
Dude, HP, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was probably going to be one of my biggest hot takes of this show, is that I think the Senators are going to be. I've been enjoying using this word a lot in the NFL. I'm going to use it in the NHL. The Senators are going to be frisky. They are going to be pretty frisky, and I think I'm not going to go off on a limb right away and say they're going to win the division, but I mean, from a betting standpoint, at plus 2,800, like, they have a shot to potentially surprise the hell out of everybody and maybe do it. Like, throw some money at it. Like, that's damn good. That's a damn good value for betting. And then just outside of betting, just in general, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck into a 3 seed in the Atlantic.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the odds to make the playoffs outright here. Just looking at playoff odds, not division championship. They are plus 200 to make the playoffs, minus 250 to miss the playoffs. But you look at that second line, and you're getting Alex DeBrincat, Tim Stützle, and Claude Giroux on your second line.
Yeah, dude.
Shored up the goaltending as well. Cam Talbot and Anton Forsberg is the team there. They got rid of Matt Murray, which is big. Ottawa could be in the mix here.
Dude,
Joey getting his hot take for the show.
MVP. I will ride that train with you, Joey. We can ride it right off a damn cliff together. Dude, I would love that. I would hate it from being a Hawks fan perspective, but you know what? Hey, man, I think it's a weak and, quite frankly, lazy as all hell take that DeBrincat was only good because he was on a line with Patrick Kane. Quite frankly, I mean, anyone who actually thinks that, you weren't paying attention. Cat's going to be damn good. Cat is going to be. What do you think
the odds are for DeBrincat's Hart Trophy odds right now?
Well,
you had to guess.
If I had to guess,
yeah.
Well, what's the top? Like,
I'll tell you, they're not looking great, but they're not terrible. The worst odds on this list are a few players who are all at plus 30,000, and I will say
I'm going to give them
better than that.
I'm going to give them plus 7,000.
You are darn close, 7,500.
All right, yeah,
are the odds for Cat right now. So there is that.
I don't think he's. I mean, he cannot. He can't beat his old line mate in McDavid, let alone anyone else who's right behind McDavid in that race. So,
yeah, let's go ahead and make your prediction here, Joel. Which team are you taking to win the Atlantic this year?
It's so funny. You know what? I'm gonna spite everybody because we all hate on them, but you know what? They're now becoming the 2020s decade. They're starting to become what the Washington Capitals were in the early 2010s. I'm gonna say the Maple Leafs are gonna take it, and then
I'm in agreement with you here.
yeah.
I think at least as a regular season team, the Leafs have it all.
Yeah,
We've yet to see them put it together in the postseason. Only team without a playoff series win in the post-lockout era.
rough.
Yeah, they're due. They are very, very due
That's
for
the
that
whole
playoff
thing.
win.
Yeah, but
And at this point, I think Leafs fans as well, they don't care where they finish in the regular season. They have to get that first round playoff win this year, or else where do you go?
I mean, do you? I don't want to. I'm just going to offer this question, and then we can move on just to keep us within our time frame. But if they miss or if they get knocked out in the first round again, but also win the division, I wouldn't be surprised if they just start dropping the nukes like that.
Yeah.
They're blowing everything up.
I could see that. Metro Division. I'll do the odds for this one. Hurricanes at plus 200. The Pittsburgh Penguins at plus 280. New York Rangers at plus 350. Capitals at plus 700. Islanders 1,200. Devils 1,600. Jackets 5,000. And the Flyers at plus 7,500.
What is up with the love for the Penguins there?
Yeah, I was quite surprised to see that. I don't. Is it not betting against Crosby and Malkin and Letang and company? I mean,
I feel like it's got to be the same as what like with the Bruins. You get those big names that pushes them into that conversation, but second.
Yeah, I'm really surprised here. I do like some of the moves that they made on the back end. Looking at their defense, Jeff Petrie, Ty Smith, Jan Ruda, all new guys coming in there. Goaltending, they're still running the tandem of Jari and DeSmith. You know, they've still got now a healthy Ricard Raquel, a healthy Evgeny Malkin to start the season, a healthy Jake Gensel. So there is some of that, but I'm a little surprised to see them ahead of the Rangers. I thought there was going to be a lot more action on the Rangers to bump up their odds here.
I think part of that is, I mean, have the Rangers not kind of, except for last year, obviously, been Maple Leafs-esque in the Metro? They're always, you know.
I mean, there were some similarities, but they did have to bottom out for a bit to get Lafreniere and Capo Caco with top.
Their window, that's the thing. Like, their window's open.
Yeah,
their window was open. The minute they made the conference finals, their window was open.
Yeah, they kicked in the door last year, I think. And I would not be surprised, frankly, to see them in the conference finals again this upcoming season. It really wouldn't surprise me to see them there. But as far as regular season goes, I did think they would be ahead of the Penguins on this list. I'm also a little surprised to see the Islanders at plus 1,200 after an offseason where they really didn't do all that much.
There's some love going on for the Islanders. I've seen it in a couple other like preview articles, like on the Athletic and everything. Like people are high on them, even though I don't really see.
Like, I mean, they do have a good defense group. They do have an elite goaltender in Ilya Sorokin, who. As you'll see when we get to our Vezina Trophy odds, is looked on very favorably at those. So maybe those two go hand in hand. But again, the Islanders, to me, it's still not a team that's going to score enough goals to be a threat night in and night out. You know, they're only going to give up, maybe 2 goals a game. But can they score 3? I don't know that they can consistently score 3 goals every night.
Are they a playoff team?
I don't know. And I don't think so. I think looking around at the rest of the Eastern Conference, I think the rest of the East is just so good. And it's going to be such a dogfight for those last few playoff spots.
Yep.
I don't know who ahead of them they would be in a position to beat out that was there from last year. And I think there are some teams in the East that missed last year. We talk about the Ottawa Senators as a team in that conversation who missed last year and could be in position to make this year, that's got to bump somebody else out too. So
I'm going to ride that hot take off a cliff with the Senators. They make it over the Islanders.
I would think so too.
But yeah. All right. Who you got?
As far as picking a winner, I'm going to take the Rangers, which is going to be really odd for later in the show, and you'll see why, but I'm going to take the Rangers here. I think there's good value at plus 350. I think regular season odds, they could be in really good shape. They got a young team that puts up a lot of goals. They've got a hot young goaltender with Igor Shesterkin, who the Vezina Trophy winner last year deservedly carried that team a lot, especially with some of the underlying defense numbers. So I'm going to go Rangers.
You suck, because that's exactly who I was going to take.
Dang, I thought you were going to go a different direction.
But I will go a different direction just for the sake of being...
For the bit?
Do it for the... Hashtag do it for the bit. Bring it into season 2. So, look, I will say you'll get some of my... Like, the Rangers are going to be a favorite of mine all season. But, I'll safe bet it in the Metro, and I will go the Hurricanes just because I think with the, just that roster they have, the upgrades they made, and just how amazing of a team they were with what they had last year. Now factor in just the 2 upgrades they have. I will go with the Hurricanes. It was kind of a teeter-totter, so the fact that you went first and took the Rangers, I will definitely take the Hurricanes. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
That we didn't even get this far into the show. We got this far and we didn't talk about Carolina picking up Brent Burns and Max Pacioretty.
Well, we talked about it a little ad nauseum throughout the offseason. That's probably why.
We did, but especially for a preview show. I mean, that's kind of a big one to
that's huge
not cover. So
those are 2, albeit older players at this point in their careers, but still not slowing down.
And 2 guys who are looking for a Stanley Cup before their careers are done. Both of them have been to the finals before.
And got heartbroken.
Burns with the Sharks, and Pacioretty. Did he get there with Montreal too? I know he got there. He got there with Montreal. He didn't get there with Vegas. He wasn't with Vegas during their.
He went to,
but he did make it with Montreal.
He went to Vegas the very next year.
Right. So
wait, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying then he hasn't been to the final. I think his timing was so off because he went to Vegas after Vegas's inaugural year that they made it to the finals. So Vegas made it to the finals. Then that offseason, they picked up Pacioretty. Then everyone thought they were going to make the finals next year.
We're going to go ahead and look this one up.
Hey, go ahead, because I'm 95% sure of myself. And if I'm wrong, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just wrong.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put the Central Division odds up here while I go ahead and look that one up, and I'll let you go ahead and read these for a moment.
All right. Well, so for the Central Division preview, which God, this is gonna be a rough season. I'm excited, but God, it's gonna be rough. We got the Avalanche at I love this. The Avalanche at minus 150. There's our first minus for a winning in the division, which is that's a no-brainer. We have the Wild at plus 330, the Predators at plus 1,000, the Blues at plus 1,200, gross. The Stars at plus 1,200, also a tie there. The Jets at plus 3,500, my lowly Blackhawks at plus 50,000, Jesus, plus 50,000, and the Coyotes also at plus 50,000. Hell yeah, you know what that's going to be? The Blackhawks and the Coyotes are going to be fighting for who gets the bedroom in the basement.
They're going to be fighting for the top overall pick in next year's draft in Connor Bedard.
Hashtag suck hard for Bedard. Let's get it.
Yeah, so you had the lead exactly right with the Avalanche being the only team for their division odds to have a minus number, meaning you would have to bet $150 on the Avalanche to win 100.
Whereas it's just so funny. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's so right, but
it's totally deserved. Spoiler alert, yes, picking the Avs to win the division. I'm sure you are as
that
well.
was fast.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
says I'm picking the Avs to win the division?
I know you're going to throw $1 on the Hawks at plus 50,000 just in case.
Dude, no, I'd throw $10 at it because that would win me what, $5,000?
Joey chiming in to say the Blackhawks will
Little
not be worse than the Coyotes.
So, Joey, I agree with you, but here's the thing. I want them to be. Yes,
Well,
you heard it here first.
HP playing the flip side of that coin, saying Connor Bedard is praying for a fantastic season from both the Coyotes and Blackhawks.
What the hell do you mean? Bedard would love to come here. He doesn't want to go to friggin' Arizona where he's playing at a college.
I mean, the 5,000 seat arena for the Coyotes this year
versus versus the best city in the damn country. Yeah, I think that's pretty easy.
There's a lot of other franchises that would debate that. Yeah, Joey. We 100% want Bedard. Yeah.
That's the thing. I never root for tanking, but except in this case when Connor Bedard is going to be Connor McDavid-esque. So hell yeah, let's go 0-82. Let's ride.
Well, let's not forget too that this upcoming draft class is going to be one of the better ones that we've seen.
I get it. So
in a long time. So
even a top 5 pick will be solid.
Yeah, if the Hawks get a top 5 pick this year, that's
which we will.
At least a top 2 pick in most other draft classes. I mean, it is that deep. Joey chirping HP and I here with, if you bet on the Wild to win the division, do you also get stock in the jersey advertisements? Joey, played.
I'm so happy you're here so I don't have to be outnumbered by the damn South Canadians that are Dan and HP.
Well played, Joey. That's funny. I can't even be mad about that. HP with me. That hurts, Joey.
I love you know what's really funny? We're getting like a little fun. Like, you and I already have the fun rivalry. Everyone knows that. We're getting a fun rivalry.
I mean, look at the colors we're wearing tonight.
Exactly. We got a fun rivalry going with 2 of our guests that'll be on the show next week.
That's right, because Joey and HP, both in our fantasy league, they'll both be on the show next week. And Joel, you didn't even hear this one yet, but Michelle will also be joining the show.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's go.
We will have at least 5 members of the league on the draft for next week's show. So
that's partially why it's like, look, we will stick to 1 hour for this episode because next week might go over.
There's going to be a lot. It's for sure going over. I think beyond the fact that we're going to be live streaming, the fact that we're also doing a live draft, there's going to be a lot to coordinate there. And I would not be surprised if we're taking the full clock on all of our picks.
That's what it'll be. I mean, that's the whole point. It's going to be our fantasy hockey extravaganza for anyone who's looking for tips and tricks on their fantasy leagues, whether they're keepers like our league or not. Anywho, yes, I am also taking the Avalanche to win the Central. That's a no-brainer. However, Wild at plus 330. I'm high on the Wild, probably higher than you, honestly.
I mean, at least in terms of winning the division. I mean, the Wild, they're still a playoff team, and I still think they're the second best team in this division, even with the cap crunch that they're dealing with this year.
It doesn't matter.
It's $12.7 million dead cap.
I get it.
But you look at some of the younger players on this team that are going to contribute. Your guys like Matt Boldy, like Marco Rossi, Kalen Addison, Tyson Jost, who are battling for roster spots.
Yep.
The Wild are still going to be a good hockey team. The Blues in the mix as well at 1,200. The Predators picked up Ryan McDonough on the back end to help.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yep. So that will take some of the load off of Roman Josi as being the only guy to really be putting up points from the blue line for the Predators, and can still hold things down in the D zone as well.
Where did the Blues?
The Jets. I got to touch on this with them. Blake Wheeler no longer the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, so new coach comes in and says, we're starting over with the leadership group, and you're going to have to go back and earn those letters.
Yeah.
They said it's not anything Wheeler did. It's not an indictment on Blake Wheeler, but doesn't it have to be, though? Because if you weren't going to indict Wheeler for something, why are you taking away the captaincy? There's got to be something there that we don't know.
Yeah, there's some. I think there's going to be some bad blood there. That was a bad look and a bad move. Like, Blake Wheeler is fantastic, and you just stripped him of the is that like playing your hand months and months in advance of the trade deadline? Like, are the Jets blowing it up this year at the trade deadline? Are they selling? Like, I mean, I don't think they're gonna. I mean, they're, like you said, like if you take the Hawks and the Coyotes out of it, they're the worst odds here, as we see by quite a long shot. The Stars are way ahead of them. So, I mean,
yeah, it's not like they also. I mean, they don't really have a ton of guys who are on expiring deals that they would be flipping at the deadline.
no.
Blake Wheeler still has this year plus one more. He's also got a modified no trade clause and no movement clause. The only other,
I think he'd be willing to waive with probably what he's.
I mean, maybe, but keep in mind that even if he is waiving this year, whatever team is taking him on would still have to figure out how to account for an $8.25 million cap hit next year. So unless Winnipeg is retaining half,
Winnipeg probably retains, maybe not half, but maybe a quarter of it.
And maybe some. Maybe you get another team like Arizona involved to retain some as well and throw a pick their way.
Blake Wheeler's not going to waive his no clause.
Yeah. No, I mean, he would waive it so that Arizona, through the three-team deal, kind of like what we saw, what Tampa Bay did with Columbus when they were bringing in David Savard. They sent him somewhere else first and then to Tampa Bay, so that Tampa Bay is only paying a quarter of the salary and taking out a quarter of that cap hit. Yeah, you could see some of that as well. But again, nobody is really on the expiring deals this year. Now, next year, you have Wheeler on an expiring deal next year. You have Scheifele on an expiring deal next year, and you have Connor Hellebuck on an expiring deal next year. So this year might not be the year Winnipeg blows it up, but it could be coming next year. And they could be doing some of the groundwork ahead of that this season. So don't be too surprised on that one.
No, that's fair.
With what happens with Winnipeg. Did you say you're taking Colorado here to win the division?
Of course I am.
Yeah. That's
no, I'm taking the Blackhawks.
You're throwing $10 on it, but you're not picking them.
All I will say is, as abysmal as our season is going to be, and you and I will have another episode where we preview both the Wild and the Hawks specifically and go in depth. But I love the Luke Richardson head coach hire, and I loved it already. I remember you backed me up on loving it. But what he did this week during his preseason press conference, which actually, as we speak right now or in about an hour, the Wild are playing the Hawks in their first preseason game. Am I right? No, the Hawks play preseason hockey tonight.
They played the Avalanche tonight.
The Hawks do? Or
the Wild do.
Oh, sorry. We play the Blues tonight. Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
I knew it was we play you October 2nd preseason.
Yeah, it's coming up quick here.
Okay. Either way. So, we play the Blues tonight preseason. But Luke Richardson in his press conference, if no one saw or if people haven't seen this, the Goose Island, everyone knows Goose Island, the brewery, Blues tonight. Thank you, Joey. As Goose, everyone knows Goose Island, the beer. They released a Blackhawks Pale Ale. I'm actually trying one tonight, but Luke Richardson brought one to the podium while answering questions for the press and was drinking it during the press conference and then shared a whole case of it with the rest of all the media members. I was like, that's my head coach. I love where we're going in the future with this guy.
Hey, we're sorry you have to cover this team this year. Here's some beer to help out.
Hey, the
fans and the team coverage got to get through it somehow.
Somehow, some way, though, this is going to be the most games I go to in a season, mainly because it might be the last time I can watch Kane and Taves live.
There is that.
We'll talk about that another time. Let's move on to the Pacific.
When we get the Wild and Hawks show, we'll do that. Here's our Pacific division, so we'll let you go with the odds here again, too.
Oh, all right. So we got the Flames at plus 210, and the Oilers at plus 210. That's obvious. We got the Vegas Golden Knights at plus 475. It's an oddly specific number. Got the Kings at plus 500, moving up in the world. Kings makes sense. Then the Vancouver Canucks at plus 1,000. Release the Kraken at plus 6,500. The Ducks at plus 10,000 behind the Kraken. That's very interesting. And then the Sharks at plus 15,000. Dan, what do you think here? I think there's a little bit of some slots mixed up here, in my opinion.
I really like the value of Kings at plus 500.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at a team that went out and got my boy Kevin Fiala this offseason, picked him up in a trade.
Your daddy?
He's going to be on a line with Anze Kopitar to really be the scoring force on.
Isn't Kopitar like 85 years old now?
Still producing. I mean,
I know he is. He
He
is.
has been incredible.
Like, dude.
Still one of the better two-way centers in the game. Still a point producer.
Of course.
And then you throw him out there with Adrian Kempe. Victor Arvidsson might get some time on that line as well.
Yep.
Arvidsson and Fiala teammates in Nashville. So
Yup.
that already a good get there. And then I look at a Kings defense who they're getting Walker back. He played, I think, 4 games all of last season and then got hurt and was done for the year, like a torn ACL or Achilles, something like that. It's a lower body injury. Yeah. Drew Doughty being hurt and missing a good chunk of time last year, getting those guys back healthy defensively. You look at the young core that the Kings have coming up through the ranks as well, one of the best prospect pools in the league that is just starting kind of like what we saw with the Rangers last year, starting to really take ownership of the future of the franchise. I think that's a very, very good hockey team that we're going to see. We got Jesse Bell climbing in here.
Hello, Jets.
Jesse, great to hear from you, man.
Hello, Governor.
We already talked about your Flyers very, very briefly. A tough season incoming for the Flyers, but a fun season no less.
You'll be fighting my team for the first overall pick, most likely.
There's a decent chance of that, but I think the Flyers will be better than people think. I still don't think they're going to be great. I still don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be competitive night in and night out under Torts. And God, I am so here for Torts in Philly. That is going to be that's a fun matchup to watch.
Dude, Torts dealing with Philly media. Oh my God.
It's going to be delightful. I am so hyped for that.
Oh my God.
Reeling it back into the Pacific Division here. The Flames lose Johnny Gaudreau, lose Matthew Tkachuk, and they respond by bringing in Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, and Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to soften the blow of those departures.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much running it back with almost exactly the same group as last year.
Yeah. I mean, and, you add in somebody like Huberdeau, who's pretty much going to lead the way points-wise, I think. Mackenzie Weegar obviously is huge. Like, that's probably the one piece where you're like, yeah, Florida got Matthew Tkachuk, and quite frankly, that's maybe a slight upgrade, especially on the defensive side of, being a forward. But Mackenzie Weegar is probably the one part of that trade where you're like, man, the Panthers lost out on that one, but they had to sweeten the deal somehow. So he's going to be damn good for the Flames. I think he'll have I guess you could technically say he had a breakout season last year, but I think this season he'll have a huge breakout season. There's a fantasy tip for you if you're looking to draft in a little deeper rounds there.
Well, and seeing Mackenzie Weegar on the first line, like he's going to play with Tanev, and then you'll run it back with Hannafin and Anderson on the second line, Sidorov and Shillington on the third. That's a stout defensive group playing in front of a good goaltender and Jacob Markstrom as well.
Yeah.
Calgary came on strong last season, but then kind of fell apart come playoff time. The Battle of Alberta wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be for a playoff series. And then you look at the Oilers as well, who needing an upgrade in net desperately because they couldn't return to the playoffs with Mike Smith as their starter again. It just wasn't going to work. Went out and added Jack Campbell in free agency. So they have addressed their goaltending situation. Defense still a little bit of a concern, has been for a while. But you have Connor McDavid. You have Leon Draisaitl. Some of the other scoring pieces are in place. I don't like Evander Kane at all, but he is a good hockey player. I don't think there's any argument about that. And the way that he played on the ice with the Oilers last season was a really, really good team fit. Now, the off-ice stuff, we're not getting into that. But at least in terms of strictly on ice, it was a really good fit for the team. And Kane, a player who adds a lot to what the Oilers bring to the table all over the ice, really.
It's funny you mentioned that too. Here's another hot take for you. It's probably not even really a hot take. I've definitely read it across some things. The Oilers at the trade deadline, I could see dealing Puljujärvi. And I
Yeah,
think
they're having a hard time working out a long-term deal there. So
that's why they only signed. I think that's why they only signed a 1-year contract. That's a
yeah,
very tradable contract. He's most likely going to be at his scoring pace he was last year, and I think that'd be. I mean, I'm not saying that's who that's how they're going to get potentially Patrick Kane from us, but like they're going to trade for a vet. They're going to trade him for a veteran forward to bring in, even though obviously we all know goaltending is the Oilers' biggest issue right now. But
Joey chiming in
Joey
with that as well. If they still need goaltending at the deadline and the Jets are in shambles, you might see him move there.
Dude,
this article coming in a later date.
That's a solid take, man. That's not a bad idea.
I could see that.
They need, yeah, like I guess that's my thing. Like, again, we'll talk about it in the Hawks Wild preview show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know one of the favorite teams to potentially land Kane, and obviously landing Kane is going to be the top 3 story in this entire season of where he goes or if he stays. But
right, and that's not even just with Chicago either. I mean, that's a league-wide.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's a top 3 story throughout the entire year. But personally, and again, I know one of the favorite teams to land Kane is the Oilers, because obviously, like, you get an all-star player like that, add him in with somebody like, oh my God, really quick, sorry. Can you imagine a line with McDavid centering Patrick Kane? That's disgusting.
That's absurd.
That's gross. Like, that actually might not be fair. That might not win you a cup, but it might get you to the cup, and that's not fair. But
well, again, for those who have criticized the way the Oilers play defense, adding Kane to that line does nothing to add to the defense.
No, it doesn't.
But also, once that team gets the puck, you're not getting it back.
Exactly. So
you could run a power play realistically with your forwards of Kane, McDavid, Draisaitl. You throw Darnell Nurse on the back end, and then maybe probably Evander Kane to play in front of the net.
Oh.
That's a power play that's going 40%. Frankly, like that is at least a good
hottest take, 50% if it happens. Anyway,
it'd be lethal.
But my ultimate point here is I don't think that makes the most sense for the Oilers. They have their scoring power.
They do.
What they need is another defenseman, but most importantly, a goalie. That's why Joey's take is fantastic, dude.
And even
if
Campbell is the guy, you still got to get somebody else in there too that can spot start and get you maybe 25 games. Because even Mike Smith, I don't think is at a level where he
is the new Civ of the league.
Has been for a couple of years.
Yes, but
another comment from Joey here, because we got to touch on this and keep it moving.
Okay.
Golden Knights seems generous. Goaltending questions. Yeah, Robin Lehner out for the year for the Golden Knights, so he
sucks.
Done. Laurent Brossoit is injured to start the year.
Yep.
So they are really digging to the AHL to shout out to the Silver Knights to get their goaltending resolved. Traded for Aaron Dell too, I believe.
Yeah. They have.
It was either Dell or Hutchinson. It was one of those two, I think.
Plus their cap issues, arguably worse than yours.
Right. You look at a team that over the last 2 seasons gave away Marc-Andre Fleury and Max Pacioretty for nothing. The year after Pacioretty was their leading scorer, and giving Fleury away the year after he won the Vezina. By the way, going back to Pacioretty, he did not go to a cup with Montreal. I
told you. I was right.
You were right. I had numbers crossed somewhere in the history bank. Words are hard. So no, a guy looking for his first trip to the Stanley Cup final, going to Carolina.
Yeah.
Joel, go ahead and give me your prediction for the Pacific Division.
Pacific is tough because it really is kind of lowly. It's very top heavy. I've been obvious for most of my picks. This one's not exactly not obvious, but it's not obvious either. I just confused the shit out of you, didn't I?
A little bit.
Oilers. I rode the Oilers in the playoffs last year, and they paid off. I didn't say they'd make the cup, but they paid off. I'm going with the Oilers, man. They got a chip on their shoulder.
I'm gonna go with the LA Kings. Something about this
Whoa!
I am all in on the LA Kings this season. I really like what they're doing there.
What the hell?
Yep.
Over the Flames, the Oilers, or even the Knights.
Yep.
What?
I'm in.
Yeah, you're in. Fine. Yeah, I'm with you too. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're not gonna win.
I'm in on them as the division champs.
There's no way.
Bet.
We'll bet something. We'll mention it on the Twitter handle. We'll bet something.
Yeah, I'm in.
There's no way.
I think the Kings, as an overall team, they're an overall better team than the Oilers. I think the Flames are still going to have to kind of figure out how things work now that you're moving forward without Tkachuk, without Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah. There's going to be a little bit of an identity crisis there. And I think it's going to be a dogfight down the stretch between the Flames and the Kings. Would it surprise me if the Flames won the division? No, not at all. But I like that value of Kings at plus 500. I think that's going to be my bet. HP, the Knights are going to be bad, and HP is with me. He loves the Kings pick. Joey, going back to the Kraken for a moment, but a Hawks tie in there as well. Pacific Preview, the Kraken have the best color analyst in the league. That's true.
You're damn right they do, man. I almost want to get NHL Center Ice or whatever just to watch Kraken games to hear Eddie O.
Joel, I'm going to skip over a couple of things that we talked about in the preview rundown here just to keep things moving.
That's fine.
Stanley Cup matchup prediction. Give me your Eastern Conference team, your Western Conference team, and your winner.
We'll have to. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I called this last year.
You did. You called both teams and the winner.
Did I call both teams? I know I called the Avalanche. I know you're right. Yep, I had the Avs and the Lightning, and I had the Avs winning. I don't remember if I got the games right. Probably.
You didn't have games right. You said
I'm not good at picking games or amount of games. So my team coming out of the West is going to be the Avalanche. We are in the day and age where we are seeing. I get it. The Lightning are the only ones that have done it, but we're seeing back-to-back conference champions. That's obviously in the East, but dude, how the hell are you going to bet against the Avalanche? What did they lose other than Nazem Kadri? And yes, I know they switched out goaltending with Darcy Kemper and now they got what's his name, Georgiev.
Yeah, Alexander
Georgiev. Yeah, but they've already proven that. They just need subpar at best goaltending because their defense is going to do the rest of the work anyway. So
average goaltending can win that team a cup.
Absolutely. So Avalanche are coming out of the West for me. Out of the East. Whoo, man.
This is where it gets really, really tough.
This is where it gets crazy. And I am going to say... Oh man, is it tough. I have two teams in my brain, and I've been thinking about this all day. This isn't me getting put on the spot like, oh no, I wasn't thinking about this. I have been torn on both of these teams all damn day. But I gotta go with the Hurricanes.
Who is the other one on that list? Just because I'm curious here.
The Rangers. Like you are on the Kings, I am so high on the friggin' Rangers this year. But God, it sucks because I think I'm going to go back and forth. It sucks that I'm ultimately going to take the Hurricanes. I just know how damn good their roster is.
I think looking at that team too, like the really frustrating part is unless one of those two makes it as a wild card team, they're going to play each other before we get to the conference finals.
I know, and whatever
Just by
series that
virtue of
is,
being in the same division.
it's a sin that won't be the Eastern Conference final matchup, but that's okay because it'll be a second round matchup most likely. I'd imagine probably a second round. Oh, they could rock.
They could be first round, depending.
Yeah,
Know,
they
if
could be
somebody else comes up and takes a top spot.
right. So I just I'm really high on the Rangers, but they let down in certain aspects. So I think ultimately, yeah. So my Stanley Cup final prediction is going to be the Avs against the Hurricanes, with the Avalanche winning a back-to-back Stanley Cup. Yeah, I know. Boo-hoo. I did the easy choice. Yeah, well, name me somebody that's going to beat the Avalanche.
Well, Joey's got one for you. He said the same matchup, but he's got the Hurricanes.
Woo! Hey, you know what? That's my thing, though. It's like I could think of maybe 2 teams total that I could see potentially upsetting the Avalanche out of the East, Hurricanes being the other one. And yeah, that's the other thing. Like the Rangers being the other. And I mean, Tampa takes a step back this year. There's my hot take. Tampa takes a step back this year.
Before this segment started,
if you tell me you're going to put the LA Kings in the Stanley Cup final, I'm going to
fly.
I'm going to fly to Cincinnati right now and smack you.
That wasn't where I was going.
Okay.
Before the segment started, I was going to have the same matchup that you had.
Really?
With the Hurricanes.
Wow.
And Colorado. I'm still going to stick with that.
Okay.
But I do really like what the Florida Panthers are doing. They saw the need that hurt them over the last couple of seasons and went out and added Matthew Tkachuk to get some sandpaper in that lineup.
You're right.
They signed Spencer Knight today to an extension. He's going to take over here before too much longer as the guy.
Yeah.
Not to mention Bobrovsky still seems to find a way every couple of years to just pull out Vezina caliber goaltending.
Right.
And if this happens to be the year that he once again catches fire, I could see Florida in that mix.
Right.
That said, I'm still in on the Hurricanes. I'm still in on the Avalanche. And I'm going with Joey. I am going with the Hurricanes over the Avalanche in the Stanley Cup final. The prediction is in. Lock it in. That's going to be my pick. Hurricanes over the Avalanche for the Stanley Cup.
There it is.
Joey says Hawks in 4.
Hell yeah, dude.
Comment up on the screen now.
Hawks in 4. Hawks in 4.
Hawks in 4.
It's going to happen. Kane and Taves are going to sign rest of their career deals. We're going to trade away all of our good prospects and bring in veterans, and we're going to win the cup.
All right, let's run through some awards predictions here so we can kind of close things out. Hart Trophy odds at the top: Connor McDavid plus 250, Austin Matthews plus 400, Leon Draisaitl plus 800, Nathan McKinnon plus 1,000, Kirill Kaprizov at plus 1,200. Joel, who are you going with for the Hart?
Man, that's tough. I think McDavid was robbed this year, or I guess last year now. God, time is weird.
I mean, was he though? Like,
I get it.
Matthews with 60 goals last year.
I agree. I guess I'm
not trying to take anything away from 123 points from McDavid, but 60 goals and the first 60 goal scorer in a decade.
No, I get it. All right. I'm not saying he was robbed blind or anything like that. He robbed Belmore blind. Come on, that was a good call.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like I did it in season 1 and I was damn close. Dude, my boy, Connor McDavid. Why the hell would you bet against Connor McDavid? And hell, at plus 250, it's actually pretty good. It's a decent deal.
I agree. I do think McDavid,
Matthews
in particular this year, knowing how weak the Pacific Division is, if he wins another scoring title, I think it would be very difficult. And especially if Edmonton ends up with a top, if they win the Pacific, I think it's got to be McDavid at that point.
Which they will.
I do kind of like McDavid at plus 1,000. That's got some nice juice to it too, especially after he just signed his long-term contract.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be leaned on a little more this year without Kadri supplementing the scoring. But Alex Newhook, a guy who could slide into that center line or second line center role and be a good fit. But I think they're going to need to lean on that top line a little more this year for some of their scoring. So could see McKinnon as someone in there as well. Additionally, if you wanted to go a little extra crazy and go with somebody who is just off the board for the Hart Trophy, sixth best odds for Cale Makar at plus 1,500. Someone who could be in that conversation again as well. So
that's not a bad option either, honestly.
A nice little segue there too into our Norris Trophy prediction. I am going to go McDavid as well for the Hart. Norris Trophy, Cale Makar plus 135, Roman Josi plus 700, Adam Fox plus 900, Victor Hedman plus 900, and Aaron Ekblad plus 1,200.
I love Aaron Ekblad getting some love here.
It's nice to see. I feel like if there was any year that he would have been in the conversation,
it would have been
his numbers last year were the best.
Yeah.
But also there was no way that he was getting by Makar and Josi last season with the years that those two had.
No, you're right.
Joey says Seth Jones.
Hell yeah!
Oh boy.
Hey man,
do I dare try and find him on the Norris Trophy odds here?
I would love you to.
He's plus 5,000.
That's actually not as bad as I thought.
He has the same odds as Tony DeAngelo, Thomas Chabot, Rasmus Dahlin, Mackenzie Weegar, Jared Spurgeon, Jacob Slavin, and Dougie Hamilton.
Outside of DeAngelo, he's in some good company.
And DeAngelo from a points production side.
I get it, but he's still a douchebag.
He puts up points.
I don't care. He's a douchebag.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying he puts up points.
He does. I'm gonna go first. I don't think you're gonna take my. I don't think we'll agree. I'm going hot on this one.
Then we're not going to agree if you're going hot on this
one. All right. Okay.
Go ahead. Who you got?
I'm going hot, and I know I'm going to get burned for it. But again, like I said, man, I'm high on the Rangers. Give me Adam Fox, dude. Adam Fox, he won it. I know he's won it once.
Don't hate it.
But he is so good. He gets overshadowed by someone like Cale Makar, obviously. And then obviously Roman Josi last year as well. Or Roman Josi usually anyway. But dude, I think Adam Fox is going to be again amazing, but just back to the year he won his Norris 2 years ago.
I think Cale, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Cale Makar at plus 135 is probably the best odds you're going to get on Makar this season.
Of course. The fact that he's a plus is actually funny.
Yeah, I am surprised by that. But then again, when I'm seeing him at plus 135 and that the next closest is Josi at plus 700, it still shows how big the difference is in betting opinions on that as well.
Yeah.
And where the odds makers feel it's going to fall. It's got to be Makar for me. I don't really see it going in the other direction there.
I've been going pretty obvious picks, but I knew my Norris was going to be crazy. It's not crazy.
Vezina, which could get interesting here as well. Igor Shesterkin plus 250, Andrei Vasilevsky plus 500, Ilya Sorokin plus 800, UC Saros plus 1,000. And then Thatcher Demko and Jake Ottinger tied at plus 1,800. Joel,
Dan,
give me your Vezina pick.
Dan, you said a name incorrectly. You said Juicy's name incorrectly. You need to know this by now.
This kid.
Hey, man. I do it for the bit. What can I say?
You do it for the bit.
I forgot to turn the lights on in my apartment. Thank God for this ring light.
Yeah, you're going to want that.
Anyway. I'm going to get off the crazy train. Not crazy, but you know what I mean. I'm going to get off the non-favorite train. Dude, I got to go with my boy Igor. He won it last year, and I can see him doing it again. I mean, but here's the thing. I am picking Igor. I'm going with the safe bet. However, at plus 800, dude, Ilya Sorokin is a damn nice value right now. Like those odds, that plus 800, that plus 800 is not going to be plus 800 the minute the regular season kicks off on October 7th. That's not going to be there anymore. So if you want some value, hell, I might go do it soon. Ilya Sorokin is going to be damn good. And I think I saw some takes and I kind of agree. He could be the Igor Shesterkin, but of this year.
Yeah, a definite possibility there. He was 6th in Vezina Trophy voting last season with a 2.40 goals against average and a 9.25 save percentage.
Yeah, dude.
Both of those numbers better than UC Juicy Saros, better than Andrei Vasilevsky, both of whom finished ahead of him in the voting last season. Wins probably the difference there. But again, like we said with the Islanders, that's not a team that's scoring 3 goals every night. They're relying on Sorokin to win them games, and he can. He is very, very good.
Exactly.
I don't think you can sleep on him. Somebody who could be an off-the-board pick, if you really wanted to go trying to dig around and find some value here, I think you could go Jack Campbell at plus 3,000 with the Oilers. Knowing that they need the goaltending help.
Where's Jacob Markstrom at?
Markstrom, good question. Plus 2,000. So he's next behind Ottinger and Demko on the odds, tied with Freddie Anderson and Connor Hellebuyck.
That could be good value too. I think maybe ultimately he doesn't win it, but he could squeak into top 3 contention.
He could. Freddie Anderson as well at plus 2,000 could be a nice little value play. If I'm just going with someone on this board here, though, I mean, there is no better goaltender in the league than Andrei Vasilevsky. If I'm picking one guy to win me a game, I'm picking Vasilevsky.
I get it.
For that reason, I've got to go with him for the Vezina prediction, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Shesterkin go back-to-back. It wouldn't surprise me to see Sorokin. What a run of Russian goaltending at the top of the board here.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go Vasilevsky.
All right, let's roll through our last. Calder.
You want to go back to Vezina for a minute?
No. We're good. I was like, we can roll on. We're almost.
Okay. Yep. Last one we've got here, Calder Trophy. Our top 5 here: Owen Power at plus 450, Mason McTavish plus 450, Matty Beniers plus 500, Kent Johnson plus 1,200, Cole Perfetti plus 1,200.
It's interesting to me that Cole Perfetti is still eligible, but
give me just a minute here to look up his stats. He only played 18 games last season, so he is still eligible.
All right. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about most of these guys. I do know, though, Mason McTavish is supposed to be pretty damn good. I'd probably go with him. Typically, you don't ever, for Calder, I feel like you never really go with the absolute favorite. I know he's tied, actually.
We got burned on that last year for everybody who picked Cole Caulfield.
Oh, I know.
We got absolutely burned on that one.
I know. I'm going to go out on a limb and just go one of the higher guys, but not Owen Power. I'm going to go Mason McTavish. However, I'm interested. Uri Slavkovsky, and Shane Wright where are they at? What are their numbers?
Okay, good question. Because Slavkovsky was the first overall pick in this past draft, and Shane Wright looked like he was going to be the number 1 guy. But he ended up going 4th overall to Seattle. Those two are plus 1,800 for both of them.
I think that's good.
Matty Beniers' teammate with Shane Wright. So the Kraken with 2 potential Calder Trophy candidates.
Shane Wright's got some good, or both of them have good value at plus 1,800. That's pretty good.
You said you're going with McTavish for your pick?
Yeah.
I'm also going off the board here, but I'm going off the board outside of these top 5 as well. And I'm going with Marco Rossi of the Minnesota Wild.
He's eligible?
Of course he is. He hasn't played yet.
Oh, right, Ross. I'm thinking Matt. I was thinking
you're thinking Boldy, who last season, the pace he was on, if he did not miss as much time as he did at the start of last season, I would have to think that he would have been in the top 3 at least for Calder Trophy voting. 2 years ago, it was Kirill Kaprizov. So you go Kaprizov into Boldy, and now this year into Marco Rossi. Love what the Wild are doing from a development standpoint, from a Calder Trophy threat standpoint. And the way that team is built, they're going to have some guys in that conversation over the next couple of years as well. A little further down the road, a guy like Danila Yurov might be in the mix. Goaltender Jesper Wallstedt might be in the mix. So plus 1,600, I'm going Marco Rossi. Wild are already thinking that he's going to be a power play guy, probably power play 2 to start the season. Somebody who, the way that the Wild rolled their lines, they really have, the Kaprizov line is the quote unquote top line. The Grief line, Greenway, Eriksson, Ek, and Foligno, is a second line per se, but not really a true second line. And then you're going to have Boldy, Rossi, and probably Tyson Jost or Freddie Gaudreau on that third line. That's a line that's going to put up a bunch of points as well. So I'm going with Rossi there. That's my pick. But we got to move into 2 minutes for roughing here. Try and keep things relatively tight here to close out the show. Joel, you've got 2 minutes for roughing tonight, so I'm putting time up on the clock for you here. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I got something.
All right, let's do it in 3, 2, 1, go.
Where's my timer? I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
It's here.
All right, so I talked about this kind of last time in a bit, and everyone knows, Chicago guy, I'm a Bears fan. Things have looked a little weird. I know we're 2-1, but it's a dirty, ugly, disgusting 2-1 if we're being honest, or based on our 2-1 with all the running game, we look like a 2-1 team from 1984. So that's fine. But here's the thing. There are so many people that just don't give young quarterbacks time to develop anymore. And I get it from a little bit of an alternate perspective. I'm a fan too. We in Chicago have been starved of a franchise quarterback for as long as our franchise has existed. Yes, that includes Jim McMahon. You could win with him, but let's be honest, the defense won that Super Bowl in '85, and Walter Payton as well. Here's the thing. People need to settle their asses down on Justin Fields. Yeah, he has not looked good, and I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't nervous. But again, he's in his technical first full year. I know that was mostly last year, but with Matt Nagy, no one could succeed. So here's the thing. Everyone giving up on him already looking at let's tank and draft CJ Stroud, or I forgot the kid's name from Alabama, who both look amazing. And hey, I'll jump on that train thank you. I'll jump on that train if Fields continues to look as bad as he has, but he's about to have his 14th or 15th start. Like, give the kid all this season. Like, these guys need time to develop. I get it. We want star power right now, but like, that's not how it works. You need to give these guys time to develop. 2 to 3 years for me is fine. And I've had enough with the hot takes of like, all right, let's burn it all down and do it again. It's ridiculous. I probably could have kept going. I'm not like that pissed about it, but
I know you could have.
It's annoying.
I'm pretty sure that's like the third straight Bears one that you've done too.
It's not the last either.
No, it won't be.
No.
Good place to end it for tonight. Thank you to everybody for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at PodSnipeCelly. And on Facebook, you can search PodSnipeCelly there as well. Season 2. We are back next Tuesday with our 2022-23 Fantasy Hockey Draft Show. We will have at least 5 people on. So this is already, just in terms of sheer number of people, the biggest show that we've done.
Yep.
With at least 3 guests, possibly more. We'll see who all else from the league is able to make it on for the draft show. But that is it for tonight. In the Green Bets is coming up next. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.
Later.